What's going on, guys? Alec here with Clone Force 23, bringing you guys a very exciting video. First of our recaps from the first weekend of Planetary Qualifiers. I got my boy Alex with me. Say what's up to the people.
What's up, people?
And we got the first appearance of teammate number 3, probably teammate number 1 at the moment, because he's the finalist from the Fargo, North Dakota Planetary Qualifier. Cody, how's it going, man?
Hey guys, glad to be on.
Good. So we're going to be running through Cody's PQ run, and as I said before, he's a finalist in the Fargo Planetary Qualifier. Feel free to like the video and subscribe if you can. It greatly helps us out. Leave a comment if you have any questions. The deck list will be in the description. Without further ado, let's get into it, man. So who did you bring? Who did you bring? Some might say he's the chosen one. The chosen
I brought
one.
the one and only Anakin.
Anakin.
I've been saying it since he got teased. I was going to run an Anakin deck, and I was like, I'm just going to try it out at a PQ. I thought he'd be pretty good into the meta, even though a lot of people kind of seem to doubt it. He does actually have some pretty good ability to deal with the Tarkentown decks right now.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that blue-red hero, it's funny because that deck, you're probably playing like maybe 10 cards different than the other leaders that run it. And actually, speaking of, the three of us all, I'm just thinking of it, would prefer to run a different leader paired with that deck. Just to each their own, but the deck core kind of stays the same. But hey, what do we know? You took it to the final, so as far as on our team, you're the expert on it now. All right, so let's run through your matchups here. If you remember them, we had a long day of Star Wars. Trying to think what we were doing the next day, the drive home. But yeah, if you want to run through them, let the people know what went on and what you think was great and what you saw. See what goes on.
Yeah, so there was 6 rounds of Swiss. And my first pairing was Django Tarkentown. And that was probably my biggest worry going into this tournament, just because I've heard how good the deck is. And also, really wasn't playing too much for about a month and a half. I played pretty hard for the first, 2 weeks that the set came out. And then just kind of, vacation got in the way and holidays. But was able to play test it with Max earlier that night. And I just 3-0'd him, and I was like, okay, maybe I know how to play this. Nothing too notable, because I ended up playing for my second and third round Django Tarkentown.
Nice.
So all 3 I got experience, but first matchup, I 2-0'd him. Second matchup, I 2-0'd it. And the third matchup, I 2-0'd it. So, nice. I just steamrolled the Django Tarkentown matchup.
Locked in with the Django TT matchup.
Crazy. I think each one had a little specific spicy win to it. The first game, I would say Perilous, I don't know, the equip card, Perilous Position. I even forget the name of the cards, man, and I play it. Just the ability to a quick exhaust and lower a unit. It came so in handy because you're kind of facing a deck that's doing that to you. So you just try to get Django off the field right away, so they have to burn a turn trying to knock somebody down. When Django's up a lot, then it gets scary because everyone can get knocked down. So the first matchup, I just remember playing that mainly on Django or on a Ruthless Raider when it came in, and that just felt good. Or any space unit I was able to throw it on, because that game I was really able to pop off with Razor Crest, and I got Perilous basically 3 times in the one match. So I was just getting rid of a space unit. Lurking Tie was really awesome to get rid of that. I got it back. He threw the shielded one, 7th Fleet Defender. Was able to pop that off too. Yeah. So that was super strong. That's just a good card overall for blue.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's almost like pseudo removal spell against Django. It just removes all of their space units. The PP shooter also is the 3/2. and Kylo's ship. So Crafty Smuggler too.
Right, and everything's hiding behind a shield. Well, not everything, but a lot of stuff's hidden behind. You can't hit it on the first strike, or you have to attack into it. So having that just to pop it off, it was pretty good. I ended up putting it on Django game 2, and really try to get rid of him just because from the first game I noticed once he was up, he was able to knock me down more, and I was like, I'll kind of make that a priority to get rid of. But the guy played flamethrower, so he was able to knock down my whole ground unit board. I only had 2 units at the time, but Paralysed it again, and then Anakin swung in with 2 lightsabers.
Oh God!
So overwhelmed. That felt pretty good.
I was gonna say it shouldn't be too hard for Anakin to remove the Django just the next turn.
Yeah, I mean, even without the lightsabers, the Perilous really helps kick in that overwhelm on the Anakin flip.
Because you just reduce it to 0, and then the unit dies, and Anakin's basically attack stat just goes straight to base. That feels good.
Yeah.
And then third match, 2-0. I played Max, so basically trained me how to beat him the night before at like 2 a.m. in the morning. Then we ended up playing, and what was really notable about that one was I had enough damage, a lightsaber on Anakin, and I was swinging for 11 at the time. I struck into base for the first time, hit 11. He claimed, and I bravadoed, and I did it again. I got him to 22 in basically one turn.
2 actions.
And he's fighting me at, I think it was 15 health or 20 health. Like, I was kind of getting beaten up there, but I was like, here I come, just boom.
Yep.
Yeah. Bravado's such a fun card. Do I want to run that in the deck? From what I've heard from other people, I don't know, but I thought it was pretty good.
It seemed to perform well this weekend, so hey.
Yeah, it performed very well. So
don't change what's working. We don't.
And then
we're going to talk about round 4 fight events. So
yeah,
friendly fire.
Round 4, we get into the stream. I think I lost my nerves there, but I played you, Alec, Sabine ECL. Dude, I haven't played that against that deck as Anakin yet, and I was like, this is so fast. It changes the play style that I kind of like to play with Anakin. A little bit more aggressive, but I can't out aggro you. You have too many small units you can pop out, and mine are like on curve. They do a lot, but it's not as many. You were just so much faster than me. I also felt like I didn't draw any of the right cards that I really needed to. I kind of scrapped together in that game. I just really felt like I didn't have decent amount of units or my synergy with the Force going on until one of the games when Anakin came out, and I didn't have anything on curve for that, though.
Yeah.
I haven't even watched her recording yet, but is that pretty close to what happened?
I think one of the games, I don't know if it was game 1 or game 2, but one of them you're kind of like playing behind curve each turn. It was like on, I believe it was game 2. You were like on the 3 resource turn, you played a Sabine, and on the 4 resource turn, you played Conquer Dawn. So I think it was game 2, but it was like you must just not have been drawing on curve because it was like
it was really bad
up each turn, and I was like force throw, like I'm waiting for the force throw.
Yeah.
That didn't even come.
Yeah. Because playing behind curve is fine. Play Yoda on resource 4 and then force throw. That just feels good. You can do that on 5 with Kanan too, and that's just a nice little combo. People see it coming, but if you don't have it, you can bait them, and if they pass, just claim or something and scoop them up through there.
Right.
I like that kind of mental tactic with it.
Yeah. Yeah, and what's aggro going to do? You know, not go to base? They'll probably just leave the Yoda alone.
Right. So I lost that one. So at that point, I lost straight 2. All my games were in either 2, one way or the other. Didn't ever take it to game 3, except once I was in the top 8. But then I played the guy I lost to in the championship, the Boss Green. That game, I just misplayed a lot, and honestly, that's probably what I did a lot during this tournament. I didn't honestly play the greatest, but I was able to get to finals, so played pretty decent, but this one I knew I messed up. I wasn't used to playing into a villain green, to be honest. Again, I didn't have. I wish I would have said, or I could say like, yeah, I went into this and I really trained hard. Went up against a bunch of different decks. I just played off memory how it feels. I think just blue, red heroes really good. So, but yeah, he smoked me 2-0. The first one, I could have had it. I didn't attack with a Luke at a certain time, thinking I could bait something else out. He was able to get me, and that kind of changed the board state. Not able to heal 3 and do 6 in the base.
Sure.
But and then the other time, he threw out a crate before I was able to, and we were both basically at a stalemate of the game. Whoever threw the crate out first was going to win, and he just happened to do it. So I felt okay about that one. That one's not the one I misplayed on. I think I could have just claimed and not played 2 more units on the field. But who knows? I wasn't expecting him to have crate. He was already a resource ahead of me, so I thought if he had it, he did. But he just top decked it. So
sure, yeah, that happens.
Yeah,
I mean,
happens when you're in top deck mode.
Right.
If you don't
Part
got
of the cards for some people.
Yeah.
If you don't got it, you don't got it against crate, and it's pretty much your move at that turn, or you're in trouble.
Mm-hmm. Right. And then, so I lost that one. So then I was 3-2, and then game 6 I played another Sabine ECL, and this one
retribution.
I did have some retribution, man. I was expecting plays now coming out of Sabine. Since I played you, I was like, okay, I'm understanding what this deck needs to do and change it a bit. I drew very well, just super good. I got a lot of Perilous. I was able to take out some of his units he didn't have optimal plays for. In some situations, I got into a situation where I was about to lose game if I brought out Anakin. He had a Wrecker in hand in ECL, and he had Battlefield Marine on the field. And he was down maybe like 10 or something. So I had an opportunity, and I just took initiative, and because he kept trying to pass. He passed, I took initiative. Then I was able to play Luke, took out his unit, and then he Wreckered in. But I was able to bring in Anakin, swing to base, Bravado, swing to base. And I was like, I just squeaked that out. It was pretty good. Yeah, the Sabine game, I just drew, I don't know how to describe it. It was just like what I needed. I drew every Sentinel, locked that down. And anytime he tried to power up a unit, I had Perilous for it, weaken it, and then I was able to take it out. It was kind of a combo of Perilous and takedown. He never had Sabine out for more than one turn. And he was telling me both times he had Darksaber, so I was like, okay, I played that correct, or as best as I could.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that was Swiss. Yeah, so that was Retribution. So I 2-0'd that, and that was pretty nuts.
And I think, so your ending record out of Swiss is 4-2.
4-2, yep.
And I don't know if we found this out, but I think you had the best record out of any 4-2 person.
Mm-hmm.
1, because you 2-0'd everyone, and 2, because your only loss was to me. Spoiler alert, I was undefeated in Swiss rounds. So I think that actually played into your favor a lot.
Yeah. And what's kind of crazy is like, so the 1, 2, 3, 4, the 4 games that I had, those 4 players were in the top 8. So I played the best players there, and their only loss was to me. So the guy that I played in top 8, the Django Tarkentown, I was his only loss all day. He went 5-1.
Okay.
So that really helped me out.
Mm-hmm.
Max only lost to me, and he went 5-1.
Yeah.
So yeah, the schedule strength there just went super well. I played straight into the top 8 already to get to the top 8, so that felt pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's run through the top 8 here. What was your first round? I think you already might have just said it. But.
Yeah. So my first round was the guy that I played round 2, Django Tarkentown.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the only game that went to 3 because Okay, so by then I'm just super tired, but we're right at like, I think I had 7 more that I needed on my base and I was going to die. He had like a 3-hitter and then an exhausted Ruthless Raider. And I had Anakin readied, and I forced through a card from my hand, which was a lightsaber, to kill the guy that was standing up. Because I thought he didn't have cards in his hand, but his card was over off on the side of the table. And,
Oh.
and it was a surprise strike. So I would have got the 2 damage to kill his unit anyways. I could have put the lightsaber on Anakin and swung, and then I had 6 resources remaining and had a Cassian face down. And I brought him out, and I could have done it for game.
Sure.
So I brought Cassian out because I forced through my lightsaber, took that unit out. He claimed Cassian, and I think I needed 3 more or maybe 2 more damage. It was super close, and then he just surprise strike Ruthless Raider for game. And I was like, okay, yep, I should have just said, you got cards in your hand, threw it out of yours, but I wasn't really paying attention, so I learned after that one. But then the next 2 games, obviously I 2-0'd that. Again, it just felt natural. So what I ended up doing when I played Django, I guess I didn't explain this at all, but I side out the village protectors, or at least that's what I was doing. So I did that from game 1. I just sided out 2 village protectors for 2 fellow dragons. That's all I did. I ran the same list. Everything still felt good. Village protectors come in handy if they're kind of just going more ground, or if they'd run like a non-optimal list, I'd say. But I didn't really find them being that great when I was facing Django. They could stall for like a turn, but like they're pretty much gone right away. They're pretty weak. Django can take them out pretty easy.
So I put he's got like a million cards in his deck that can just kill it for like 1 resource.
Mm-hmm. So then I ended up putting in the Fel, and that was really good. I was able to take out Fet's Fire Spray and a Ruthless Raider. Actually, two Fet's Fire Sprays throughout all those games. I mean, it doesn't come up too often, but when you do, I had the optimal play, killed it off of a triple Dark Raid. So that was really good.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so I beat him, and then top 4, I played a Quinlan Tarkentown, and I've never played this deck before, and I've never seen this deck before. You get to see his deck list right before, so I checked it out, made some sense. I haven't seen it play, but the game did not go well for them. It was just one-sided. For some reason, anything he was playing, I had an answer for it. I was able to lock down space. He did kind of miss some pingings, but I don't think I necessarily had the best plays against him either. But any unit he had come out, I was able to stop it. And R2 was really good in that deck. R2 was able to help me a lot, just start shuffling around my cards or trying to draw better hands, which it did help out. He was able to play a cure on me. He stopped like a perilous position. But R2 is able to get me some other cards. I was able to get a takedown, take it out. So that went well. But overall, I think I bravadoed for game. It was pretty cool. So the really cool part of that game was the second game. I'm just chipping away at damage, and he's doing pretty good too. But he bounces my Kanan back to my hand. So I had to put it down. Akir is on his board, and he's got an Ezra. And he goes in with Ezra to try to top deck something. And I just need 4 more damage. Do you know what he got? Were you guys watching? I think
that's how he bounced Ezra. He ripped away.
He
bounced Kanan. Yeah.
Okay, that's right. So he bounces Kanan back to my hand. Kanan already attacked, so like he was a threat, or did he attack yet?
I don't think he had attacked.
No, he didn't.
Okay, yeah, I don't think he attacked yet. That's right.
Yeah, because that was like space. Game if he didn't kill.
That's Kanan. Right. Because I remember now. See, it's all coming back. I had Kanan and I had the Razor Crest out there. Razor Crest had 3 damage on it. He had the Disabling Fang Fighter, and then he had some other ship out there too. I think it was Red 3 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, I just needed 7. So I went in with Razor Crest, heal 2. Yeah, he Ezra's, he bounces back my Kanan. And I was going to Perilous, and then I was like, okay, that's 6. Can't Perilous. So then I put Kanan down. And because he traded with my Razor, then he attacks my Razor Crest. So he trades with that. And because he traded with that, I was able to Bravado for 3. So I stood it up because I was at Resource 7. So I stood up Kanan, and he had no way to stop it. And I was able to attack in for game. Yeah. That was just a nice, really tech where Bravado was so good. I hated to see it early because I felt really bad that I had to put it down, but it just doesn't fit in the early game strategy. Maybe it's worth hanging on to. I think a couple times I was like, I wish I already hung on to this because Anakin could have went in for a lot of damage or another unit. But Bravado, good card.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You won both the games, I think, against Quinlan with that card. And then, so yeah, that was your round 4. And then we made it to the finals here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so then I played the boss green again. And yeah, dude, I didn't know how to play into green villain. I think it has a good line into me. He was saying, and what kind of the meta was, or at least my perception of the meta for set 2 when we were doing the last PQ was Ray had a really good line into Bosk. And I think Ray did because of the hand hate, obviously, like that was really good when it started. But then she was able to juice up her units with an extra health too. So Boss could ping, but she juices up that little unit. It's not like he did anything. Because Anakin doesn't do that, he was like, oh, blue hero, whatever. Blue hero is really good into this. And I was like, I don't think so. I think you have a better line into me. And that's where I think the red blue hero decks right now, they all have the same core for the most part, but they play differently. And like the play styles, I feel like are much different. The Anakin is just aggressive. So my units are going to explode because they're taking damage. And Bosk is able to just ping. And that really slowed me down. Having that type of removal and getting rewarded for it, that was tough. So, I mean, it's Bosk doing Bosk things.
Right.
But the green villain, I just didn't really have an answer to it. I didn't feel like I drew too well. I mean, dude, the last game for whatever my 9 resources were, my last draw was 2 force throws. And I was like,
yeah.
Gotta take initiative. Like, what am I going to do? Just force throw nothing and have you discard your hand? Well, big whoop. I'm just like going out like a little turd. Like, I didn't have anything. So that's what hurt. Because of that, I want to like look more into tech. I see other people have done that. I thought about it and I was just like, I'm just really not going to play with tech right now. But after getting to some of those situations, I think tech could be a 1 of or a 2 of in the deck. I just got to figure out how it gets fit into this thing.
Sure.
But R2, champion of the deck. Whoever plays Quill, I saw that and I was just like, why do I want to discard some of the cards that I want to see? Because like in this variation that I have, like kind of half the deck is red. And sure, I could mill, maybe add something to my hand, but if I lose a force throw, I mean, like that's my removal. Get rid of a force throw, like a powerful one. Force throw, I just think is too powerful to risk that. If K2 said if you discard this card and deal 3 damage to base, I'd be like, hell yeah, run Quill.
Right.
But I don't know. I just don't like risking it. I already feel like I have bad enough luck drawing the cards out of my deck. I don't want to discard them because when I played that Bosk in the championship, dude, I was just like playing super aggressive and I just got outgassed. And I brought a Cassian out and I kind of got greedy there. But then I had to put a top card for my deck and it was an Obi-Wan. And I was like, wow, if I had Obi-Wan could have at least stopped the bleeding for the moment. And I could have regrouped and just did the last bit of damage that I needed to. But that's where it's tough. So Tech would go in there for stupid situations like that. Just being able to pull out like a bravado or anything, dude, just like anything else that you need at that time. Having a 3-bot also works in Anakin's deck. He can hit 4 or 5 and survive.
Yeah.
So Tech is something I really want to try.
Yeah, the one of Tech seems like it kind of makes sense. I mean, you can always just throw it down in the resource row until you need it, because you can just smuggle him out for 4. So he's always there if there's a situation arises where you get to late game and it's all right. Well, I could use 9 more cards in my hand. Oh, here we go.
Right, and then with that too, like maybe even Tech just is like my casting place. I never kept casting in my hand. I don't know if other people do that. You say you do that with like Sabine sometime, but for Anakin,
Yeah.
I see casting. I'm like, he's my resource, and I like that because he's for sure damage at the end.
Yeah, it's different for Sabine because sometimes we just want a 3/5 rebel, but for Anakin, yeah, for sure, it'd be like always being resourced at that point.
Yeah, so if Tech can get smuggled out and bring him out, that might be a good play to rebound from like a heavy blue control deck. If they super laser blast and you're able to bring Tech out, and then you can bring something else out, just start revamping your board. I think that's a very good viable option. Now I'm kind of like talking myself into like playing 2. I think lightsaber is good. Maybe a 1 of. 2 of I'm moving for sure. I think 3 is just a little too chunky, and then having Razor Crest, like, sure, I could get a lightsaber back, but that means it died off of something, or I threw it in there. And 2 lightsabers, you just really need to see 1 to make an impact. But grabbing the Perilous off of the Razor Crest, that's just too good. You essentially just have 5 Perilous in your deck.
Right.
Because I run the 2 Razor Crests, so.
Yeah, it just seems like, why would you ever grab lightsaber over Perilous if you had the option to? It just makes more sense.
Unless it's calculated for game. I mean, like, it's got to be a very niche specific reason why you're going
real specific situation.
Yeah. So 2 lightsabers out, 2 Tekken. That might even just be a good play to test with. I'm running some crazy stuff right now just to play around and see how it goes. Just because I got burned by having the no late game ability. And I think Tech might be it.
Sure. Is there any other cards that you were just like, I mean, in the side also, that were just like,
yeah, I'll be honest. If you look at this side, I don't think it's good. The good parts of it is the two dragons, 2 pillage, and 2 fell.
Yeah.
And that's really all I used. The game against Bosk, I ended up putting in another K2, and I took a cannon out. And I thought about just putting this entire side in there. Because when I was building it, it was kind of lately thrown together, but the idea was that I could have built a, removal engine if I wanted to, but also be saturated with the removal cards that I want to see. But it didn't feel good trying to force that giant package in.
Sure.
So if I would redo it, like Pillage is a good card. I think you told me before, you're like, dude, that's a good card at 3. And I was like, it just doesn't fit right now. But I think that goes to 3.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that makes sense. There's just a lot of control right now. Or like even in the mirror, if you can just pillage first in the blue red hero mirror, if you're like the first one to pillage, that usually is pretty impactful on the game.
Yeah. So pillage is good. Fell is good. I mean, I'm still siding that in. Like if deck doesn't change, I can be Django all day. So I feel good about that. Fell goes in. Fell went in for mid-range too, but I didn't side in for Quinlan. I just ran this deck 2 times for Quinlan. So like my side deck doesn't really do anything. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
So I want to work on that more. I've been looking at and kind of thinking about running Vigilance. That's for 6. Running 3 of them. Maybe for this mid-range villain kind of matchup, but also like I'd like to test it for aggro, like Sabine. Because if you can get that heal 5, maybe pop a unit, you can offset that damage maybe to come back on your Anakin turn. Because our first game, I mean, I did 19 to damage. Like if I had the ability to stay alive just like one more turn, Anakin comes in and he's swinging for like 9.
Right. Yeah, he was. I think
That
he was a
scary.
9 at that point. It was like, if I don't win the next turn, I will probably just lose to one attack from Anakin.
So if I had that way, just did maybe 2 more damage or something.
Right.
Either when Anakin's out, something. But yeah, so vigilance for sure. So I think it's 3 vigilance, 3 pillage, 2 fell, and 2 dragons, and that's the 10 right now. Sure. If I play around with the deck size, not deck size, but like what's in the deck. 1 or 2 lightsabers come out. I want to throw tech in there. I think redemption's good too. I want to try to figure out how to fit this in. Just having something to be able to recover one time, that'd be pretty cool. I used to run the 3 redemptions in this. Also with like Grim Resolve too, where I just got like super cheeky to try to do like 14 damage in a base.
Yeah.
That never came off, but I was able to swing into a base with Luke for 12 off of Grim Resolve, so I like that card. But I just don't know if that's a competitive card in this deck.
Probably not. That's just kind of fun.
I mean, if you can pull it off, it's pretty crazy.
What we thought of like day 1 of set 3.
It was
fun to attack with our redemption for 14. And then
you'll never see it
OTK deck. Anakin attack and then redemption attack.
But I don't know if you start running tech now, and tech is your lifeline to like these crazy OTK plays, Anakin could be good that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if you're running bravado, you run 2 bravado, you run 2 Grim Resolve. If there's any opportunity to really swing in big, and you have tech on the field and you can get it through, tech becomes a target, but you do have sentinels to protect him, so he can stick around for maybe a turn or 2, at least to get off an ability.
Sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense. Well, again, congratulations on the run. That was the best out of any of us that finished this weekend, and it was awesome to see, especially awesome to see, kind of Anakin pretty relevant, especially just the blue-red hero in general, but definitely not as relevant or as much of a showing as we saw from like, the 5 other decks or like the 7 other decks in the top cut. So that was nice to see. I think you're the only Anakin in the top cut. I don't believe there was another one.
There, I think, was maybe 1 or 2 more, but this one was definitely the best showing. This is the strongest showing from Anakin Blue. So.
In the top cut there was more.
I think there was maybe like 1, not in this top cut, but like other top cuts.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was talking about Fargo.
With Fargo, no.
Wait, maybe there was a bunch of Anakins.
I
didn't know what the top 16 were. Did you guys check 16. The top 16?
I did not top 16. I did not check. So probably at least 1 more in that. Fishing around.
Just the top 8. I was the only Anakin. Were you the only Sabine?
I believe I was. Yeah.
Okay, and then we had Quinlan, 2 Django's, 2 Bosk.
I think there is 2 Bosk, 2 Quinlan. Yeah, I think that was it. That was it. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a decent spread. I mean, Django was prevalent. I did see a lot. He's a decent deck.
Oh yeah, for sure. Scary. And again, it's just get your matchups right. Your first 3 rounds of the day were just like, all right, this is exactly what I want to see.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. So there's that, but I like that the players that I played all were in the top. Yeah. That felt worthy to get there.
Right. It is pretty funny that like we all kind of played each other randomly in Swiss the first 3 rounds, and then we all just ended up going back to
back in the
top cut, which was that was super fun to have go on.
But it was crazy that I played these guys early to get up there.
Right. Cool. Well,
cool.
You want to shout out maybe just one card that you think is like this is the card that popped off, mandatory 3 of going forward, like never going to change, and then one that you were just like, it's gone. It's out of the list entirely.
Well, I don't know if I can go that extreme. R2 is for sure in the deck over Quill.
Mm-hmm.
Or Queel.
Queel.
Never liked him to begin with. Then when I saw those decks, I was just like, maybe it works, but I just feel better with R2. Hand fixing or preparing your next turn is just so powerful. And being able to swing for 3, get a lightsaber on that little droid, be scary. There's a reason he's Anakin's best droid. Right. R2 just fits in the deck. R2 just fits in the deck for Anakin. You can just make a powerful next move. It's so good.
You think he'd maybe go to 3 in the next iteration of the list?
3 potentially. I really still like the 2 because as good as R2 is, he doesn't do too much late game. He's really good at the beginning. You set up your next like 4 or 5 turn, or set up a good Anakin turn, like that's super powerful. So having him come up a little bit later, it just doesn't feel good. But if I want to see him more, I think it could go 3, and then I don't know. Restore Arc doesn't really do too much for me right now. I like the restore, but if I'm keeping Razor Crest in there and I have other ways to restore, I might just do that. Or maybe drop it to 1, but something I'll play around with. But I like I have 11 1-drop field or plays.
Yeah, 11.
Mm-hmm.
I like the 11.
Yeah.
So I'm going to probably try to stay with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's always been like my number for turn 1 plays. If you're not playing aggro, it's like 11's fine.
Yeah. And then Conquer Dawn, I just think that stays out of 3. I don't really know where it wouldn't come into play. I mean, I guess you could say against the boss green I played, it wasn't too strong because they didn't have too much of a space presence. But into the rest of the meta, Conquer Dawn is very good, especially for Anakin. You can pump it up. You can hit for 3. You got a 4, but you're like another R2. You're not fixing the deck, but you're locking down an area. And then being able to hit 3 back when you're defending, you don't necessarily need to attack with Conquer Dawn. It does the Anakin play for you for free. So,
right.
Sure.
Yeah,
I think it's very good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that card's great. That card's nuts in Blue Hero. Like, that can literally just lock down space for the rest of the game sometimes. You're like, all right, I'll just keep pinging for 1, and you either swing 2 guys into it, or we're just going to have a stalemate in space for the rest of the game.
Yeah, and that's why I had a really good time in the Django's, because running 3 of them just naturally, and when he had a big unit out and a little one out, it stopped it. Like when he had Ruthless Raider or Pet's Fire Spray, he'd bring it out, I'd throw it down. Now that turns into a 2-turn play to try to deal with it, and he's distracted by something else or just loses tempo. It's really good.
Sure.
Sweet. Cards I wouldn't play anymore. I don't know. Lightsaber, I'm going to play around with those numbers. Everything else just feels good with the deck.
Stealing.
The sideboard is going to be changed. That's for sure. But in the deck itself, yeah. I'm just throwing with some lightsabers. And tech.
Couple in the main 50 changes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it seems like 45 cards of the deck pretty much stayed the same always.
Right.
Then it's just swapping for whatever you got going on.
Ratios of K2 and Canions can be moved around. I do kind of like having the 4 of for those plays. So you either run 1 Kanan and 3 K2s, or if you really want to run the Force package, you want to see Kanan more, you'd run 3 and 1 K2. K2 is just too good to put out there for extra damage.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to play around with bumping Kanan down to 1, K2 to 3, but again, going to get a lot more games in. Kind of just built it, played it. It felt really good. Feels like a good core. But yeah, probably a solid 45 cards in here, and the last 5 or 6 move them around.
Right. Nice.
Seems fair.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like it works. Got the results.
Absolutely.
Don't change much. Yeah. Well, again, I want to give a big shout out to Paradox. Is it Paradox Comics and Games, the store we were at?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, the great store. The PQ was run incredibly well. Judges were being called a lot, and they were on top of things. A huge shout out to them. It was a great experience to head out there, far away from home for a PQ, and it felt like it was real worth it for sure. Really competitive store as well. I know we were heading out and we're like, I don't know if everyone's going to be playing the meta. Like, we're going to run into someone playing Wat Tambor, but it was like we're sitting down getting our deck list ready, and we're like, everyone's playing like the top 5 decks in the meta right now. And it was a great time. It was a super fun way to start off the PQ season. Yeah. All right. Well, I got nothing more for you. I'll let you get back to deck tweaking and figuring out how to break Anakin and win the next one for us here. The chosen one.
Got another one on my podium, so got to tweak it just a little bit. But yes. I think he's strong. Just got to figure it out.
That works for us.
All right.
Sweet. Well, that is Clone Force 23 signing off here. Again, if you could subscribe to the channel, that'd be great. Leave a like. Any questions in the comments? Otherwise, peace out.
Peace out.
Grand Army of the Republic when deployed. Galactic warfare you cannot avoid. Go ahead, be a battle droid. Face off against my clone troopers and get destroyed. Space tech, spaceports, TCG, card sports, of course. Till my voice goes hoarse. Welcome, wrecking, decking with the strategy, the energy. It's Clone Force 23.